Hello, everyone, and welcome to the College Tracker Show. I'm Victoria Allen, your host for today. And today we have Miami University that is joining us. So welcome, welcome all. We see you coming into the Zoom room. Just a reminder, as you have questions, make sure you write those into the Q&A box that we have in the Zoom room. And if you're watching via live stream, then write your questions in the comment section and we'll get those over to our special guests. So we'll start with introduction. So Aaron, I'll start with you.
Great, thank you. Hi, I'm Aaron Bixler. I'm the Senior Associate Director for International Enrollment here at Miami University. And I've worked with international students and international student athletes at Miami for 20 years now.
Thank you. Catherine?
I'm Catherine Denishay-Slovik. I'm a sophomore marketing major and I have a minor in emerging technology and business and design. And I'm also part of the women's tennis team here at Miami.
Thank you, Coach Ricardo.
Yes, hi, I'm Ricardo Rosas, head coach here with the women's tennis team. Been with the program for 18 years and been the head coach 8 years now, I believe it is.
Nice.
Good to be here.
Thank you. Coach Jake.
Hello, I'm Coach Jake Larson. I'm an associate head swimming and diving coach. This has been my 5th season, I think I just wrapped up. So,
thank you. And Coach Barry.
Hi, my name is Barry Schutte, associate head ice hockey coach, born and raised in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and 1997 Miami University grad. Awesome.
Thank you so much for those introductions. So as you can see, we have admissions, we have tennis, student athlete, swimming and diving, and men's ice hockey today. So make sure you ask your questions. Miami University is well represented today. Okay. Well, we're going to kick it off with you, Aaron, with admissions, and just remember to write your questions in the chat. So I'll hand it over to you, Aaron. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just give you maybe about a 10 minute overview of Miami University. And we'll go from there. Hopefully you all can see that. One thing I like to do when I talk about Miami University, first and foremost, is to show where we are. We are Miami University in Ohio. So I always like to point that out. We're not the one that's in Florida, which can certainly be confusing for students. We are located in Oxford, Ohio, which is about 1 hour from the city of Cincinnati. And you can kind of see we're also pretty well located in the kind of the Great Lakes part of the US and close to a lot of other population centers in terms of airport, kind of big city. Cincinnati is the closest one. We consider Miami to be a mid-sized university. For us, that means about almost 19,000 students, and they do come from all 50 states and 67 different countries. Out of those 19,000 students, about 16,300 of them are bachelor's degree students, and we have about 2,500 master's and PhD students. So most of our students who come here, they do come for the bachelor's degree programs. Out of those 18,000 or 19,000 or so students, about 1,100 of them are from outside of the US, are international students. So I think what is that, about 6 or 7%. One thing you'll see when you're looking at Miami University and our website and our publications is this idea of this original public Ivy. And so I get a lot of questions about what that means and what that's all about. You know, is Miami in the Ivy League? I thought Miami was a public school. We are a public university. A number of years ago, there was an influential book that was written that listed 8 public universities that offered an educational experience comparable to what you'd find in the Ivy League, but at a public university price. And Miami was one of those 8 original schools that was listed, along with schools like the University of Michigan, University of Virginia, California, Berkeley. So it's something we're really proud of, and you'll see that listed, that original public Ivy badge listed on a lot of our publications, and that's what that refers to. And what that really means for our students, I think, is that they get a great education from full professors, from experts in the field, really from their first year. We've been rated one of the top universities in the US for our teaching undergraduate students. Our professors, they come to Miami because they love to teach. They love to teach undergraduate students. couple things I like to point out that I think Miami does really well, and I think that are unique to U.S. higher education, are the ability to do multiple majors, multiple fields of study at the same time. Almost 60% of our students will do a double major or a major in at least one minor, and a minor, kind of think of that as like half of a major. So we really encourage students to combine their interests in unique ways. You know, if you're really like computer science, but you want to get a business background, you can be a computer science major and a business minor. If you like psychology, but you want to study theater too, you can double major in both of those fields and still graduate in the normal 4 years. Similarly, we have 30 programs where students in 5 years or less can earn both a bachelor's and a master's degree at the same time. So in their 3rd year or so, students will start to take graduate courses, and they'll actually be able to double count some of those courses and then graduate with both degrees in 5 years or less. Popular fields of study for the combined programs are things like accounting, statistics, data science, political science, and computer science are some of the popular ones where we see that combined programs. I think honors programs are something else that Miami does really well. We have 3 main honors programs. Our honors college is our residential program for about 450 students a year. It's a broad-based program for students from all majors can participate. Our Prodesse Scholars is kind of the opposite. It's a program where students will select one of 12 subject areas and then take a deep dive into those subject areas to do research, undergraduate research, and really working with professors. So honors college is kind of broad-based, kind of comprehensive program. Prodesse Scholars narrower but deeper is kind of the difference between those two. And our Presidential Fellows program, I'll talk about in a minute, kind of our premier scholarship program. I think U.S. universities in Miami in particular really do a good job with experiential learning or learning by doing. We've been rated one of the top 10 best schools for internships among public universities in the US, and almost 3,000 students a year at Miami will do research, undergraduate research, while they're here. And really, both of them are really great ways to kind of beef up your resume and kind of prepare for the future, kind of lay the groundwork for postgraduate employment. And then finally, in terms of things at Miami as well, student life, for sure. We have 600 different student organizations our students can participate in outside of class. You know, in the US, you're generally in school for maybe 15, 16 hours a week, and then maybe twice that time you're studying. So there is time to get involved in outside organizations. And Miami does have about 600 different student organizations in which our students participate. So really about anything from social organizations to cultural organizations, social justice, academic related, athletics, of course. So really any organization under the sun you'll be able to find at Miami University. Of course, you still come to the university to get a degree. And at Miami, we offer over 100 different bachelor's degree programs, and those programs are offered in 5 academic divisions. Our College of Arts and Science is where you're going to find, is our largest division. You'll find programs like the biosciences, social sciences, languages, math and statistics. Psychology is one of the larger majors in that academic division. Our College of Education, Health and Society is our teacher training programs, but also our growing sports management program and our exercise science program. Farmer School of Business, certainly well known, one of the top 50 public business schools in the United States. Popular options for students there. I see a lot of students studying in business economics and finance. Business analytics is a newer major that we offer there that we're seeing a lot of interest in as well. Our College of Creative Arts is actually our smallest division for traditional arts programs like theater, art, and music, but also our computer game design is actually in the College of Creative Arts, and our fashion program are too. Those are some of the newer programs there. And then last but not least, our College of Engineering and Computing, which for our non-US students, for our international students, is the most popular option. Mechanical engineering is our largest engineering program, and bioengineering is actually our fastest growing program. I get a lot of questions from students who are asking about, if I come to Miami University, if I come to Oxford, Ohio, which is this small university town of only about 10,000 people like me that live here year round, and then our 20,000 students, what are my options after I graduate? And you can see this is just a sampling of some of our recent international students, where they've gone to work after they've left Miami, and the opportunities are really limitless. kind of changing gears a little bit, just really quickly talk about more of the nuts and bolts. What's it take to apply for admission to Miami, and what's it take to be admitted? So it's a pretty straightforward process for our non-US students. The main things that we require are students have to complete the application. We do use the common application, or we also have our own application. We'll accept either one. Certainly for our Canadian students, this is not an issue, but for our non-English speaking students, if English isn't their first language, proof of English proficiency is required. And then high school transcripts, basically your academic records starting with grade 9. And then once the student's admitted, we'll ask for some additional documents, some financial documents and paperwork, and we just need those to meet US government regulations before we can issue visa paperwork for admitted students. All right, so these are the application deadlines. I really encourage students who are maybe in grade 11 right now to look. They're going to be in grade 12 in the fall, looking at that December 1 priority deadline. That's important, I think, for priority scholarship consideration, primarily for academic scholarships. So we always encourage students to try to meet that December 1st deadline. February 1 has been our later deadline for fall students, although to be honest, we're extending that next year to April 1st, so it won't be quite as much of a rush. But December 1st priority deadline, I think is important. We do accept students twice a year. They can enroll in either August or in January. Academic requirements, when we're reviewing students, we're looking at their equivalent GPA. That's the most important thing. Test scores, SAT or ACT is not required right now. It's optional. So we are test optional. Students who, if they want to take it, they're certainly welcome to do so and submit it, but it's not mandatory. We do look at everything that students submit on the application, their essay, their recommendation letters, kind of extracurricular activities. So those are all part of the process of the application review, but really it's an academic decision at the end of the day. So a student's previous academic record is going to be the most important thing. And then just that divisional consideration is certain programs, particularly in the creative arts, they're going to have maybe a portfolio requirement or an audition that's required to be admitted. And also for our business school, they do get more applicants than there are spots. So it's kind of a two-step process to be admitted into the business school as well. Students don't need to do anything extra, but students can sometimes be admitted into the university, but not into the business school directly. The bad news first, it's no secret that US higher education is expensive. And for we're a public university, so we have tuition rates for Ohio residents and then other rates for non-residents. And you can see here the full cost of attendance without any scholarships for 1 year is estimated to be at about $61,000. So that's kind of the bad news. The good news is that about 88% of our first year international applicants that were admitted for last fall were offered some sort of academic scholarship to help reduce those costs. We have 4 main scholarships that are available. Those 2 that are on the left, the International Education Scholarship and the University Merit Scholarship, also known as kind of the Red Hawk Excellence Scholarship, are the 2 most popular ones. Those are the ones that we see most students be qualified for. There's no separate application for those. You apply for admission and you're automatically considered. They're merit-based awards, so academics are the primary driver. They're not based on financial need. The You Are Welcome Here scholarship is a kind of a special scholarship that requires a separate application that covers about 50% of the tuition cost, and it's open for 2 new students a year, new international students. Then our Presidential Fellows program is our big scholarship program, and that's the full 100% academic scholarship. And that goes to about 15 to 18 students a year, including US students. So about 2 or 3 international students a year will qualify for that. So it's very generous, but super competitive as well. For those first year merit scholarships, we do determine an equivalent US GPA for students. And once we do, we kind of guarantee scholarships in the ranges that are shown here on a kind of that 4.0 scale. Last thing on tuition and costs, we do have something called the tuition promise, which I think is important. Basically, whatever rate you're paying tuition-wise on your first year, we're guaranteeing that you're going to pay that same rate 4 years from now. So that means if you have a 50% scholarship your first year, it's still going to be 50%, your fourth year. That we're not going to increase tuition on you, 3 or 4% a year as you go. So the tuition rate your first year is going to be frozen at that rate for the duration of your 4-year bachelor's degree program. And in the end, I think, our students, they graduate and they go out and they do some really, really great things. And I think our coaches can attest to that. They probably know better than I do where a lot of their former players end up, and they really do some interesting things. And I think a lot of it has to do with the education they get here. I think we really offer something that really helps students move on to the next step. So with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and turn it back over to you, Victoria.
Thank you, Erin, for that presentation. Thank you for sharing. So when you show the map about where all the students work, like across the world when they end up working, what other study abroad programs do you have and internship opportunities do you have going on there?
Sure. So study abroad is something that Miami really prides itself on. I actually have a slide. I took it out. We have a campus in Luxembourg in Europe that a lot of our students will take advantage of to study abroad. But that's really only one of a myriad options. And they really try to do programs to accommodate students. Some of them may be a 2-week program, or some students may go for a semester or a summer, lots of different options. And for internships too, we've actually just hired a global career development coordinator. I was on the committee for it. And one of their jobs is to help people find international internships. So that's something we're really putting a new emphasis on as well.
Excellent. And we have a question. So I see your questions coming in. So just a reminder, make sure you write those in the Q&A box. So Erin, about Duolingo's question from Mary Catherine. So Mary Catherine, are you asking about if they accept the Duolingo test? And Erin, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that is one, that Duolingo English test. It's kind of like the same people that do the language learning app. They've started an English proficiency test.
Okay.
That's a take at home test, which is a great business to be in when all the test centers closed 3 years ago. And they've really taken off. And so it is an English proficiency test that we accept, just like a TOEFL or IELTS, for students whose first language isn't English.
Nice.
Thank you. That would need to worry about it.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for that question, Mary Catherine. Excellent. And then also, just what's new? Anything new you'd like to talk about that's happening?
Sure, just kind of really quickly. The new things I've noticed is we've got some really kind of cutting edge new buildings that are coming online here in the next couple months and year. We have a health sciences building that's opening up in stages. That's actually right across the way from my office. Will be the new home for not only our student health center, but our nursing program and our some of our other health science programs. And it's going to be a real step up from previous facilities. Similarly, our new data science building is being constructed as well. It's going to house our data science and statistics programs, among others. So that's been a real growth area for Miami. And so we're building the facilities to kind of keep up with the demand, which is great.
For sure. Thank you, Erin. And so if you have any more admissions questions, you can continue to write those in the chat. We'll bring up Erin after we talk to our coaches. So thank you, Erin. All right. So I'm going to bring up our coaches. So we have Coach Ricardo, we have Coach Jake, and then also we have Coach Barry. So welcome, coaches. How are y'all doing today?
We're doing good. Thanks.
Good. Thank you.
Excellent. So let's just kick off with just tell us, if you want to just go around and tell us about your specific program that you have and just give us an overview. So I can just start with Coach Barry.
Yes, we have about 27 Division I hockey players scattered from all over. Currently, 4 Swedish players, 1 Slovakian, 3 Latvians, a few Canadians as well, 1 young freshman from Toronto area. most of our players, most of our student athletes are almost 45% of our student athletes participate in the farmer school business and are working towards some type of business degree. Another good chunk of them are focused on exercise science, sports leadership and management, and a variety of others. So we do recruit internationally as well as here in the U.S., and it just varies on the year. And ultimately looking for families and students who want the holistic approach to the student athlete experience, academics, athletics, and social. All three of those things are our strength here in small town Oxford, Ohio, and looking for student athletes and families that want all of those things to be a part of their student athlete experience.
Coach Ricardo?
Yes, I have a very international team as well. We have obviously Catherine, she's here. She's from Canada, but I have players from Sweden, from India, Japan, Croatia, and obviously Americans and Colombia. So very international. So I think makes our team very unique. I will say our program, you know, I mean, as Aaron just mentioned, all the academic side, right? We value both sides of the academic side and the athletic side. So I think it's a great opportunity for every student athlete, right, to come to Miami, get both of best worlds. You know, we're competitive. You know, I like what Miami Athletics always says, like, you come to Miami to get a ring when you win a conference. When a conference, one ring in one hand and your degree in your other hand. So I think that's kind of the driving force for all of us, you know, to help our student athletes to be the best they can be on the field, whatever sport we're coaching, but also the academic side. So I just really enjoy being part of Miami, been coaching here for many years. And I believe the college experience is one of the best in the country. So it's just a great place to be. And I think we continue to grow in all aspects. So that's the most exciting area, you know, as Aaron mentioned, new buildings coming up and, you know, always finding new ways to become the best in everything we do. So I think it's a special family here.
And Coach Jake?
Yeah, you know, so I'm with swimming and diving. We carry a roster of about 65 to 70. That's our men and women's programs combined. So we are a dual gender program. We have a beautiful 50-meter long course facility. We can run 8 lanes, long course meters. We can run 18 lanes of short course yards, which I know a lot of international students have zero experience swimming short course yards, but that's something we do a pretty good job of helping people through with that tradition or that transition. We have a separate diving facility for our divers with full flight of towers. So 1, 3, 5, 7.5, and 10-meter towers, 3 1-meter springboards, 2 3-meter springboards. We have a whole dry area with a trampoline and dry board for divers. So we've got a pretty state-of-the-art facility. In terms of where we recruit from all over the place. We've got people from East and West Coast, North and South US. We've got a couple of Brazilians, a couple of Canadians, a couple of Germans, South African, Serbians, people from Spain. So we kind of got people from all over. So most of our people are also in the Farmer School of Business in terms of what they're pursuing for education. We've got a pretty good number in the engineering and computer sciences as well. But we recruit people who, you know, are looking to qualify for NCAAs and try to compete at the highest level nationally, as well as be very highly academically motivated. Our team typically carries a pretty high GPA as well as a lot of success in the pool. On our men's team, we just finished a 3-peat for conference championships. We're pretty excited about that. We're improving continually on the women's side. We took 3rd place again for the 3rd year in the row on the conference side, but we've got a really young squad right now, a lot of freshmen and sophomores on our scoring roster. So we're looking forward to really bright things out of them as well.
And so, as you stated, you're already starting to talk about it, Coach Jake, just what you're looking for with the student athletes, but you have all these student athletes coming from around the world. So how do they stick out to you? And that's opening the floor to all coaches. Like, what do you look for when student athletes?
The biggest thing, like I said, people who are really motivated, both athletically and academically. We talk a lot about just balancing priorities in your life, socially, athletically, and academically. And, we want people who are here to really, really succeed athletically and academically. And Coach Ricardo said it really, really well. Like in 4 or 5 years, like you should be walking out of here with a championship ring in one hand and a diploma in the other. So we're looking for people who are excited about that.
I think for us, yeah, I mean, obviously they have to value the academic side, that's important. And obviously for tennis, right? I mean, we're a small team. We're 10. That's the number of our team. So for me also, what I look on players, obviously their ability, you have to go and see them compete, and as you see them compete, and then obviously the relationship begins, right? Communication, talking to them, just getting a little bit more of a feel of, who they are, and also, their values. So it's a little bit of everything for me, the competitive side, and then also the personal side, I think but the most important thing that you have to express and communicate, that they come to a program where that the academy is going to be a big part of it, and the athletics, that they're going to be pushed, and they're going to be challenged in a way that not only as a player but also as a person. So I think those are just areas that you just develop that relationship on the recruiting process, just communicating and spending time with them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we're looking for young men who are willing to be great in all things, and Miami standards and expectations are just that. It's not just a sports factory. The academics and athletics are a healthy marriage, and in a small college town, we're looking for young people to totally engage in this student athlete experience on campus, off campus, and are willing to show up in a high quality way and take pride in their academics as well as athletics, and want to get involved in the community on and off campus. So how you show up matters every day, and taking pride in what you do, and willing to come outside their comfort zone to push themselves and challenge themselves to be a better version of themselves every day.
And you talk about the balancing. So as coaches, what academic resources do y'all have, and how do you help balance the athletics with the academic side?
Yeah, I mean, I think, go ahead, Barry, go ahead.
Well, I'll just start with the schedule, I guess. Every team tends to have a different practice block. We're allowed 20 hours a week in season, 3 hours a day, 1 day off. For us, we go in the morning. So our athletics is basically 7:30 to 11:30, somewhere in there. And then from noon to midnight, they're just like every other student on campus, have a couple of classes and some study groups and some meals and et cetera in there. So it starts with the schedule. Everyone has a certain block, whether that's morning or afternoon. And then you go from there. And for us, it's we try and balance it out accordingly. And all the support, that's what makes Miami University great and Miami Athletics great, is all the support is there. It's a matter of that student identifying what they need. I may need a tutor and a nutritionist, and the student B may want more time with the strength coach and a life coach, et cetera. So the academic tutors and advising are there to help balance it out and support as needed. And every program runs that a little differently as far as what might be mandated or what might be volunteer. But that's what makes Miami Athletics great, is the layers of support on and off the field, academically and athletically. And it's a matter of identifying what you need to be the best version of you, and then take advantage of those resources.
Yes, I mean, I could not agree more. I think what I was just going to say was the academic support that our student athletes have, I think is one of the best. So it's obviously up to the student athlete as well, right? I always tell recruits that it's really difficult not to do well at Miami. The only way that can happen is that you're not communicating, or you're not really going and talk to your advisor, or telling your coaches, or telling you, somebody that you're struggling with something. So, I always tell them it's very difficult to fall through the cracks, so that's also a part of the development as they come to college, right? Time management, all those little things that maybe they're not used to. But I mean, I can just say, by having Catherine here, she came from Canada and she's a sophomore. And I think as a freshman, yeah, maybe she had a little bit adjustment to do, but I think she has done well, and the support has always been there, and I think that's something that, like Barry said, I think Miami Athletic has a great support towards our student athletes and the university. They have so many things when they need any help with any academic area. So I think that's a very good strength that Miami has and that offers.
Yeah, I think Ricardo and Barry covered it pretty well. Academic advisors who work in-house in athletics to help our athletes schedule classes and kind of plan their degree multiple years like down the road. So they're figuring out, like, not only what are my classes going to look like this year, but what does that mean I need to take next year and the following year, and how do I kind of plan that out? Tutors inside of athletics, as well as through the general student population side of academic support services. So between everything we have set up in athletics and on top of what you get just being a student here at Miami, you really get kind of twofold the level of academic support as compared to just a regular student here.
Thank you. And we have a question from Carl about, for you, Coach Barry, just what showcase is the best to go to be seen? Do you have any advice there?
Well, a lot of it just depends. For international students, it's really about playing junior hockey when it comes to the sport of ice hockey. Some students will do that while in high school, and maybe grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, and participate in junior hockey. In Toronto, it's the Ontario Junior Hockey League. In Ottawa, Ontario, it's the CCHL. The BCHL out in Western Canada. So it just depends on what region you're from. You can participate in those leagues while doing high school still, or you can do it post high school as well. Hockey is a little non-traditional. Most of our freshmen are at least 1 year post high school. They're not directly coming in as a true freshman, which is different than other sports. So unfortunately, there are so many showcases across the country, and in Canada and the US, they are pretty watered down. So you have to do your homework. And I think if in choosing them, I would just look at how many universities. There's only a little over 60 Division I college hockey teams in the United States. So if you're choosing a showcase, how many of those schools are going to be present? Is it one of them? Is it 10 of them? And I would be selective that way. But in all reality, you have to pursue junior hockey and use that as your vehicle to showcase your ability.
Thank you, Coach Barry. Coach Jake or Coach Ricardo, is there anything in your areas that you recommend?
Our sport's pretty just time-based. There's not a lot of skill evaluation in swimming. Our biggest competitor is the time clock. So we look for just a lot of communication from our recruits. We do have time benchmarks that we're looking for people to hit. Certain FINA points that we're looking for people to be in kind of a certain range with their times. And then we do always ask for video of people's races or swimming, just to kind of evaluate turns and underwaters and some breakouts and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, for tennis, obviously, a very international sport. So that's what is called the ITF junior circuit. So I would encourage, players that are already playing those types of events. I think that's a big avenue for college coaches. They're all over the world, in Canada, in Europe, and in the US. So I think that's how you manage to move and into the rankings and get some of those points, and then you enter better events. And then obviously the opportunity for more coaches to see you play. Also, there's a new system called UTR, so which universal tennis that also creates a lot of events around the world too. I'm sure in Canada there is some UTR events where you can play those events and then get points, and then the higher your UTR, then that means that you're being more competitive, winning more matches. So that also draws attention to you as a player, and that's kind of the main thing. And obviously at a, you know, for us at a national level in the United States, there's many also the national events. Even in Canada, playing their nationals, there's many events. You know, that's how really the coaches really try to go to those national events, you know, in different types of cities. So because you know that the best junior players, they're competing there. So that's kind of a good start for them to play those ITF events, so they can continue to get points and just play all over. And that's how, you know, you get a chance for coaches to see you compete.
Thank you, coaches. So we do have a question, just an overall question about the baseball program. And Aaron, if you want to hop back on, you can, but can anyone else just tell us about the baseball program, or where Tony can find more information about the baseball program?
Sure, it is one of the Division I sports that Miami offers, and I would say to look at the athletics website and just look at the coaches page, to reach out to one of the coaches there for more detailed information in terms of, you know, recruitment or anything like that. I do know, to the best of my knowledge, I know they have at least one student athlete from Canada on the team this year, but that's about the extent of my knowledge of it.
Thank you, Aaron. And so just one more question before we go to our student athlete, Catherine, and it's about just playing time. So is there a way that a student athlete can earn playing time in your areas?
Well, I would say if she's beating every player in our team, she's going to be playing. No, I think, I mean, obviously, you know, I mean, at least for tennis, you know, like I mentioned, we're 10 on our team, you know, sometimes it's a very competitive, close level wise. So I think playing time, you know, comes down to obviously, yeah, a little bit of healthy competition, you know, challenge each other. Also, you know, their ability to manage pressure. You know, some players can play amazing in practice, but when the match comes, maybe not as well because of the pressure. So I think all those little things, you know, for me at least, those are the things that you see, you know, on your players, you know, how they handle pressure, how they handle themselves in tough situations, you know, and then their work ethic, you know, for me, the work that they put in on the practice, on the gym, you know, everything adds to it. And I think that's what it comes down, like at least in tennis, you know, we play 3 doubles matches and then you play 6 singles. So, and we have 10 players. So you do have to make some decisions. You know, there's some players that they don't get to participate, but I think it doesn't mean that they will not get to participate. They just maybe need a little more of time to get better in certain things. And then you talk to them about that, and then they get better. And then they get an opportunity to actually compete. And then that's how you manage the playing time in at least for the sport of tennis, you know, on our program.
Anything else you would like to add, Coach Jake or Coach Perry?
For us, you know, it's
sorry, go ahead, Jake.
For us, you know, we don't really have playing time, so to speak. It's more what events you swim. Everybody competes at all of our home competitions. We do have travel rosters for our away competitions, and that is just strictly performance based. So who's our fastest people in those events? And we do reevaluate that week to week. We take practice performances into consideration when we're setting up our travel rosters. So it fluctuates pretty routinely throughout the year for that, with who we're bringing to our away competitions.
Yeah, in college hockey, most rosters are probably 27, 28, and we can dress 21. So there's a half a dozen or so not in the lineup. We play 34 regular season games, so we try not to define what goes on based upon those 34 days. There's lots of other things that go on every day of the week that they can absolutely earn that lineup during competition time. So, but it is just that, it's a competition. And whether you're on 100% full athletic scholarship or 50% or 0%, at the end of the day, do you get the job done or not at the highest level? And it's that Monday through Thursday competition, usually that week of preparation. Are you doing so at a high enough level to earn that time? And it's definitely hard for freshmen, for sure, when you're going against juniors and seniors. And as an underclassman going against upperclassmen, there are some dues to pay on some extent. But if a freshman comes in and gets the job done at a high enough level, then that's healthy competition for everybody. So at least for hockey, it comes in practice and during the week. And there's 9 defensemen and 7 can dress, and there's 15 forwards and 12 can dress as far as our breakdown.
Thank you, coaches. So I'm going to bring up Catherine at this time so she can tell us about student athlete life. How are you, Catherine?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So just tell us about your journey and how you prepared, being, a freshman and on your journey to NCAA.
Well, first, I wasn't really into the whole idea of coming to college until COVID hit. Then I started thinking about it more because I couldn't travel for tournaments, and I thought it would actually be a good idea to keep playing tennis but also get a degree. And I had someone help me back at home, connecting with different schools and coaches, and Coach Ricardo was one of them. And I talked to him a few times. He sent me photos, and he just really gave me a lot of information about how the school was and what life at Miami is. And I really fell in love with it. And I really saw myself studying and competing here. It was a big change because I was doing online school most of the time. So it was a big adjustment coming in as a freshman. Obviously, time management was a big deal. And I struggle a bit, but again, like Coach said, communicating, and that helped a lot. But no, I really love it here.
Nice. And so when you talked about the challenge of time management, were there any other challenges? And I know you said communicating. So was there any other thing you did to overcome any challenges you had?
Um, there was that competition part of being in the lineup. Obviously, I wanted to play, and I still do, and I wanted to be first. So that is also a little hard because you know that you have other teammates that are really good. But it's just putting in the work every day. And yeah.
Well, what does a typical day look like for you?
Um, Off season, it's a lot better. We don't have as many matches. It's mostly just practice, about 2-3 hours a day. Um, Usually have classes in the morning. I think around 3 classes, then lunch, and then we practice. We have individuals where we focus more on personal skills by ourselves with our coach. And we also have fitness 3 times a week. During season, it's a little bit different. We obviously have matches every weekend, and we practice every day except for one day where we get off. But no, it's really busy.
Well, what advice would you have for any new student athletes coming in? If you could look back, what advice do you have?
I think a big one was just planning out your days. At first, that was the biggest part, the biggest challenge. I had so much going on. It's really trying to figure out oh, today I'm going to focus on this, I'm going to do this and that, and then planning out the rest of the week as you go. A big thing was also trying to make friends, like not being too shy. At first, that's what happened. I was just shy. The only people I was talking to were my teammates, but as you go in, like in classes, people are really nice here. You can just make friends really easily, and I think that helped a lot. Just having a life out of tennis and school as well.
Well, thank you for sharing, Catherine. Well, I'm going to keep you up on screen. I'm going to bring everyone back up for just a final Q&A. So everyone that's viewing today, if you have questions, now is the time to write those in the Q&A box. And I already see that we have a question here from Mary Catherine. Thank you for your question. So when it comes to swimming, so the question is, for swimming, is there training after your championship season? Our CDN trials are in April. Just wondering how that time is bridged. So Coach Jake, do you have a response for that?
Yeah, it's a great question. Our conference mandates that we give a 2-week break, and then once we're done with our championship season, and then as we move through that and into our spring training, we can only require 8 hours a week per NCAA regulations. We offer up to 15 to 20 hours a week of training for those who want to come in voluntarily. And a lot of our international students do take advantage of that because of the facility that we have. We have people going back to Maria Lenk down in Brazil, South American nationals, German nationals. Our Canadians are going to go to Canadian trials next summer. So we are able to offer, really as much training as people want throughout the springtime and the summer. We do swim long course meters a pretty fair amount during our regular season. From August until about November, we'll swim long course meters in the mornings and then short course yards in the afternoons. As we get closer to championship season, we'll swim short course yards for both our morning and afternoon swims. And then as soon as we're done with that, we'll pull the bulkhead back down to the end of the pool and swim long course meters for all spring and summer. So we are able to offer year-round and full boat training for those who want to take advantage of it.
Next question from Sheila. The scholarship information, she just wants to know, are there also athletic scholarships available along with the academic?
For us, yes.
Anything else you want to add, Aaron? I saw you nodding your head there.
Yeah, I just covered the academic ones, but for all of our NCAA sports, there are various athletic scholarships that are kind of determined by the folks here, by the coaches. And I know I don't know a lot about it, but I know it can vary by sport too on how those are distributed as well.
All right, so we just have a few more minutes left, but before we go, I know Catherine talked about how much she loved Miami University, and I heard that as well across the board. So I would like to know, what do you love most about Miami University? So you can just take a moment, and then whoever wants to go first, if you could just let us know as we close out today. I see y'all thinking hard.
I'll go ahead and start if that's okay. Yeah, I really liked it. I've worked, like I said at the beginning, I've worked with international students for 20 years now, and to just kind of meet the students when they come into Miami and see what they do after, it's really great to just see them be successful. Just really quick, I was on a recruitment trip 2 weeks ago in India, and I met with a group of recent alums, about 5 students who graduated in the past 2 or 3 years, and just to see what they were up to and how great they were doing was really cool to see.
Thank you, Aaron.
I think for me, it's just the student athletes, right? And that's for me what I love about Miami. I think they're just, big energy all the time, so it's just fun to be around them, at least for our team, and also non-athletes, right? You can just walk on campus, and I mean, when during the summer it's really quiet and it's nice, very pretty, but then when the students come back, just things change And I think it's just fun to be around that energy, you know, during the school year. And then obviously as coaches with the team, I think it's always special, you know, the student athlete experience. And I think Miami is just, you know, you create friendships and memories that will last a lifetime. So that's kind of what I love about Miami. And also just working here, it's been, obviously I've been here for many years, and it's just the people around you, you know, it's just always there for you, at least in my experience. So, you know, that's something that it's a special place.
Thank you, Coach Ricardo.
For me, I really love our team. We all have great personalities. It really feels like home. It's not just a team, it's really like friends and family, people who you can count on if anything happens. And out of all the like campuses we visited while traveling for matches, Miami is one of the most beautiful I've ever seen. It's really something else, and everything's so close, but it's also like big in a way. It's like a small town. And that's what I really like about it, especially in the fall. The colors are so pretty, and it's just a great community, I think.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, it's 100% the people. It's a total college town. There's a healthy relationship and marriage between the Oxford community and the Miami community. So if you're looking for an engaged experience where you'll always see people you know that feel like family, but yet you're looking to meet new people every day, and it's the quality of those people. So it's a specific fit for sure. I think it's that type of place you either come to and fall in love with, or you look at, well, who'd want to go to school in this small little town? But it's totally quality people on and off campus that make the experience what it is.
Thank you, Coach Barry.
Yeah, not to sound like a broken record, but really the people, we have a really like-minded athletic department, very highly motivated and like competitive, always pursuing success, and both like our respective sports and the classroom. We have a lot of support from professors academically. They're usually pretty understanding with our athletes, and the atmosphere on campus is like none other I've ever seen. It's just a really cool place.
Thank you, Coach Jake, for wrapping that up. So thank you just to all of you just coming and representing Miami University today. So thank you, Coach Ricardo, Catherine, Coach Jake, Coach Barry, and Aaron for coming and sharing your university with us today. And thank you everyone who came and joined us on the College Tracker Show. Thank you everyone who asked questions. We just appreciate you coming and spending this time with us. So we will see you next time on the College Tracker Show. Thank you. Bye.